Theatre, film, TV and more. Suzy Wrong reviews it all on Joy Drive with Em and Warren.
Good afternoon, Suzy Wrong.
Good afternoon. So nice to be with you on, what's that? Fun Smart Radio. Is that what you call
Smart
it?
Fun Radio.
Smart Fun Radio.
We're pedantic about the way in which it's said, Suzy.
And you're part of the team, Suzy.
I love it. I love being smart and fun.
We do too.
Which, of course, we are being smart and fun because we watched Trigonometry, which is currently streaming on Stan. What's it about, Suzy?
Gemma and Kieran are a young couple, male and female, struggling to make ends meet in the expensive city of London. They decide to rent out a room in their small home, and that's how Ray, a troubled 30-year-old woman, walks into their life. In Trigonometry, an 8-part BBC drama series streaming on Stan. An attraction between all parties soon develops, which confuses everyone, especially since Gemma and Kieran are just about to get married. Trigonometry is about a throuple, a polyamorous triad, a disruption to heteronormativity, and it is that central intention to explore an alternative to how we love that captures my attention. It is, however, not the most well-made show. The writing and direction can feel forced, and a lot of its plot is less than convincing. Nonetheless, it asks really interesting questions about the nature of love and the limitations we put on ourselves in the way we live our lives, the rules we create arbitrarily and adhere strictly to. The performances are fine with a cast that brings integrity to the story, but I never find myself connecting with anyone, much less identifying or actually liking any of them. There's something consistently dreary about the way these characters handle their situation. Trigonometry is a really earnest kind of moody storytelling, which I think would have benefited from an injection of a lot more humor. So much of what they experience is actually so funny, but it looks like they are consumed with being distressed about their unconventional arrangement. You'd think these people would lighten up considering the amount of sex they should be having. Em and Warren, our threesome is much more joyful than theirs, am I right?
Isn't it
I
fabulous?
could not agree more with that assertion.
What did you think, Em?
I really concur with everything that you said, Suzy. I found it really quite slow. I felt like the plot, like it could have really happened in like maybe 3 to 4 episodes, I want to say. And I felt like each episode moved really, really slowly. I liked elements of pretty much each of the characters. Like they had their moments. I really kind of enjoyed Ray's dry sense of humor when it occasionally shone through. Like you said, Suzy, I would have wanted a little bit more. Like there was a moment where Kieran was a bit upset and Ray was like, do you want to just jump in the car because there's an Adele CD that you can just like cry your eyes out to? And I was like, lol, that's really funny. that kind of dry sense of humor I wanted to see more of because I connected with that and I thought it was kind of fun. But yeah, my overall note I thought was just that it was quite slow and I wanted more.
Yeah, I appreciated that it was detailed. Like it went into a lot of spaces that their relationship was gonna affect, you know, like it kind of didn't sort of gloss over things to sort of show that, oh, it was funny or it was unusual. It kind of went quite detailed into how each person saw their own lives, and also their concerns about their colleagues, their family members and all that. I think that those were important things to show. But the general pace of it was just a little bit too pensive, and I don't really understand why. Like, it's not such a heavy, dark thing, but the tone of it was just so serious the whole way through.
We are talking to Suzy Wrong about Trigonometry, which is streaming currently on Stan. You know, I've got to say, I agree with both of you. I thought it was a little bit dull throughout it, and it did drag on a little bit. But I've got to give it some credit because I thought, you know, it's a TV series. It's focusing on a polyamorous relationship and it's focusing on the love and not just the sex in it. And I thought that was done in a really non-judgmental way, despite it being quite a dull series. And it got me thinking as well throughout it. Like I'm quite open to whatever a relationship people choose to have. It doesn't worry me whatsoever. But I've got to admit, I was struggling a bit, for example, when, you know, the inheritance was going to be spent on the married couple. And I was thinking, well, does that make the relationship equal, unequal? How does it tip the balance? So it got me thinking about it. And it also made me think, you know, what role does traditional marriage play in upsetting the balance when you do have a polyamorous relationship that does involve two of them being married? So despite its I guess the dullness and the dragging out of the series, I actually enjoyed it for that. The fact that and the sex was real as well in it. They were clumsy, they were laughing. It wasn't this, pornographic curated sex scene. It was how it is in real life.
Yeah, I love the way that it brought up the idea of marriage or just sort of romantic partnerships in general and how we conceive of it. And just the mere addition of a third person requires them to really interrogate what all those rules mean and whether they want to keep those rules in their relationship. I thought in that way it was really valuable because we rarely get into those discussions. I think like we hold people's marriages so sacred. We kind of are afraid to sort of question things, because people do get offended, sort of for good reason. So sort of this mechanism of telling a story about a three-way forces them to question all those things. And I think all through the eight episodes of it, your mind is sort of operating on that level, thinking, it's different. It's different the way they're doing things. But then you think, well, why is the normal anyway?
I do kind of, when I first started watching the series, I liked how small it was conceptually. Small in the sense that we're really just looking at three people's lives. There's no, there's drama, but it's not like exacerbated drama. It's not like drama that you can't relate to. It's things that, happen in everyday life. And then the way in which they overcome those obstacles or, maneuver those obstacles to work for their dynamic. And I thought that was really cool. That's something that I really respected about the show in general, just the kind of insular nature of the story conceptually.
Yeah, stylistically, it looked and felt like a 90s independent film, that sort of low budget, a lot of like small rooms and not a lot of sophisticated lighting. It did feel that way. And, I think there is credit to be given for stylistically going that way. The challenge, though, that it's not in a cinema and we are at home and we've got multiple screens going. I found it so hard to abandon my phone. I just couldn't do it. I found it so hard to pay full attention to it because of the pace, because of the style, because of the tone. But I was, I wanted to get to the end. I wanted to see how they sort of resolve the story. So, it wasn't terrible, I guess, but I found it really hard to focus.
Suzy, I'm so glad you said that because that's what I was doing. Like I was like working on something else while I had it in the background and kind of was like, oh yeah, like I'm getting the plot points, but I'm also like being productive.
Me too. I was the same, but I have to admit there were times where I just put it down, but I still I couldn't wait to see the next episode. And not because I was thinking I'd be in trouble with Suzy Wrong, but I actually was just genuinely wanted to see it. So it's it's really that fine balance, isn't it, between being a bit boring and being exciting as well. But in the end, the thing I loved about it is it was all about love being central to the relationship, and it didn't matter about everyone else's struggles about it not fitting into that, societal norm and all this sort of thing. In the end, it was all about love that held them together. And I thought, you know what, that's great to see on our TVs, that being celebrated.
Yeah, the intention of it is great. I think the ideas of it is great. The execution of it is, we can argue about it. And, for our listeners, I would recommend it only because it's just so unusual. It's not super heightened, super dramatic, but it's just some of these ideas are just so rarely talked about, which is why, I like introducing things to our segment here. I don't always bring things in because they are really good, they're really entertaining. Just the unusual idea of it, I think it's worth a look.
And we love that you brought it to us, Suzy. It is Trigonometry on Stan. Suzy, what are we going to be watching for next week?
Heartbreak High is coming back to Netflix. The 90s Australian drama is being rebooted with a new generation of teenagers, this time with a lot more queers. Did any one of you see the old ones?
I didn't.
I didn't either.
Should we watch the old one as well or just the new one?
I don't think we've got that much time.
Okay. The new one.
We don't have years.
Heartbreak High.
We've got 7 days, Warren, please.
Yeah, that's my whole week was taken up with trigonometry.
I was wondering, if we didn't have to talk about it today, I'm wondering if any of us would get to the end of it, to be honest.
I don't think I would have. I think I would have probably put it down maybe 3 episodes in.
Yeah, I was just like, I was just so distracted the whole time. I just thought, no, you gotta see it, so that you can talk about it properly. But honestly, I also wanted to see how it ended. So
Yeah. What did you think of the ending?
Oh, I felt like it was real and honest. Which maybe is part of the problem, is that it is also sort of real and sort of plain, and over eight episodes it feels like, oh, we need a bit of fabrication, really.
Yeah. Something a little bit extraordinary.
You know what though? When Suzy, you do give us homework and I finish it, I feel like I've accomplished a marathon. It's such a good feeling. Honestly, it's worth it.
Look, we've got sometimes I give you like 30-minute bits to watch, like not a whole
exactly,
series. Yeah.
It's ebbs and flows, Suzy, and you know what? We love it. And it's really, I think it's, great that we have these conversations, because you might be sitting in your car listening going, that sounds like the perfect show for me. Or you might be sitting in your car thinking, no. Suzy, thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll see you next Tuesday.
That's Suzy Rong, our TV, film and theatre reviewer. You can catch more Tuesday. You can catch more Suzy on Tuesday.
So that was Trigonometry on Stan, if you want to know what we were talking about. And next week on Tuesday, we're going to be talking about Heartbreak High, the reboot on Netflix.